28 years ago today, my favorite band of all time made their debut in the music scene, and we're gonna talk about it. Hey, what's up, you guys? FilmFan0599 here again, and welcome back to the Universe of the Blue Tubers. And today on Universe of the Blue Tubers, I'm going to be reviewing Nirvana's Bleach. So Nirvana's Bleach was a 1989 released album, and this was the debut studio album from the grunge rock band Nirvana. Now, if you know me, you know that Nirvana is my favorite band of all time. I love their music a lot. They're the reason why I love music so much. And yeah, this was their debut record. And I'm going to be honest with you, whenever I first got into Nirvana, I first listened to Bleach, I didn't like it all that much. I thought it was just kind of weird sounding to me. And I just thought it sounded really, really awful to me whenever I first listened to it. But once I got used to that sound and it really settled in with me, and I went back and I listened to it some more and some more, I started to appreciate the record more and more and more on more listens. And now I could safely say that I do love Bleach a lot. I do think Bleach is a fantastic album, in my opinion. It is quite the album. I do quite enjoy Bleach a lot. It's a fantastic album, in my opinion. So let's get into what I love a lot about this album. First being, I do love the production on this thing. It's a very kind of, I want to say grunge garage type, like a garage grunge type of vibe to it. You know what I mean? I believe Kurt even said at one time that this was supposed to come off like a garage type of sound to it. And, you know, it really does have that vibe. And, you know, of course, it has that signature grunge vibe from Nirvana. And it's quite great. I really love how it really plays in with a lot of these songs, because a lot of these songs are very raw, very intense, and I love that about this album. It's a very raw and intense album, and it's quite fantastic if you ask me. And everyone does a great job on their part. You know, Kurt does a fantastic job with his vocals and his guitar work on this album. They're quite great, in my opinion. He does a really fantastic job with them. Chris Novoselic as the bassist is really great too. His bass lines really stick out on a lot of these songs, and he really makes himself stand out on a lot of these songs. He does a really great job. Chad Channing on the drums, he does a really fantastic job on the drums. And before, of course, Dave Grohl became the main drummer of Nirvana. The main drummer of Nirvana for them for a while was Chad Channing, and he was on this first record. And he does a really great job. I feel like he gets a little bit underappreciated sometimes. He does a really great job with his drumming on this album. So yeah, Chad Channing was very great with his drumming on this album. So yeah, the production is really great on this record. I really love the production on this thing. It's quite great, and I think everyone does a fantastic job in the positions on this album. And now let's get into the songs. And with this review, it's going to be quite different from the other album reviews, because I'm going to go track by track on this. Yes, we're going to do a track by track review. This is an album we have to do this for. This is a pretty big one, so we're going to go track by track, all 13 tracks on this album. So here we go. Let's not waste any more time, and let's start off with track number 1, Blue. Blue starts off the entire album. They gotta make a first impression, because this is the first song off their first major record, so they gotta make quite an impression, and they do, because Blue is a fantastic song, and it's definitely one of my favorites off of this record, and one of my favorites from them just in general. It's quite the song, in my opinion. Really starts off the album quite well. Nirvana always knows, they're one of those bands, they're like 9 Inch Nails, where they really do have great opening tracks. To me, Nirvana and 9 Inch Nails are like the kings of opening tracks. They know how to start off an album quite with a bang, and they really do with Blue. And this song really talks about kind of how I guess, like, Kurt has kind of blew his chances or something like that. Like, that's what really talks about, and he just doesn't really care that he blew his chances. And I really love the lyrics to it. They're quite great, in my opinion. Chris's bass line in the beginning, when you hear the boom, 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 like when you hear it in the beginning, it's quite great. It really makes his bass line really stick out on this song, and the guitar work is really fantastic on this song as well. So yeah, and then when it ends with "You Could Do Anything," where he just keeps on repeating that and repeating it at the end, is quite great, and it really ends the song very well, in my opinion. So yeah, that's Blue. Now on to the next track, which is Floyd the Barber. Floyd the Barber is quite the track, if you ask me. Floyd the Barber is quite disturbing, which that's its intention that it was supposed to go for. It is quite the disturbing track, you know. And what this song is basically about is about a guy who kind of just wants to who goes to the barber, and it turns out that, like, these people are now keeping him hostage and trying to kill him. And funny enough, the characters names in this are based on the characters on the Andy Griffin Show. So I just find that hilarious that he takes, like, characters from such a somewhat innocent show and makes them into really, really dark characters with this song. And it's really great, and really this is a song that really caught my eye whenever I first listened to Bleach, because, you know, it's such a haunting song. Like, you could put this in a horror film, because it is quite the haunting song with its, you know, lyrical content, content, and its instrumentation. Really, like when you hear the drums from Chad with the boom, doom, like when you hear that, and you know, Kurt's guitar work, like, it's quite the haunting track, if you ask me. Like, it is a really haunting track, Floyd the Barber, and it is quite interesting. So yeah, I really do love Floyd the Barber. It is a really fantastic song, in my opinion, and it's definitely quite the song, if you ask me. It's definitely a very interesting song in Nirvana's catalog, and I quite love it a lot. Next track on here is About a Girl. About a Girl, I'm surprised this wasn't released as a single off of this album, because I believe the only two singles that were released off of this were Blue and Big Cheese. And, you know, I was quite surprised, because this seems to be the song that always gets talked about the most, and kind of a cliche, I know, but it is my favorite track off of this album. I do love About a Girl a lot. It definitely has, like, I want to say, like, a Beatles pop kind of sound to it, and you could definitely tell with that, because also Kurt, literally the night before he wrote this song, he kept on listening to the Beatles' debut studio album, Meet the Beatles, on a repeat. And that's what kind of, like, I could kind of see where he would get the instrumentation from, because this definitely does have a kind of Beatles pop sense, of like a pop rock sense vibe to it. And I quite like it a lot. And also the song was written about Kurt's girlfriend, ex-girlfriend. And, you know, also Chad Channing, the drummer, also said that Kurt didn't have a title for the song at the time, and he said it's about a girl, and what do you know, it became the title. That became the title of the song. It's quite a great song. Like I said, I love the kind of Beatles pop rock sense that it has with it. Like, the instrumentation is just quite great. I love the lyrics to it. The lyrics are quite fantastic to me to it. You know, especially those opening lines like, I need an easy friend, you know, I need an ear to lend. Like, it's just quite great. I really love this song a lot. It's definitely my favorite track off of Bleach. It's just it's very different. I want to say this is the most different song for the rest of the album, because it's not as raw as some of the other tracks, but it's really fantastic. I do love About a Girl a lot. Now, next track, School. School is very, very, very hard-hitting. School is a very hard-hitting song. Like, it really is. And what the song is basically about is about a guy who becomes a janitor at the same high school that he used to go to, basically based on a situation Kurt was exactly in. You know, he was a janitor at the high school he used to went to. So it's definitely based upon that, and it's just a really great song. Although they just say the same words over and over again in the song, but it's quite great. The instrumentation is really, really fantastic with it. Like, the guitar work is very, very great. And the guitar solo to this is actually really good to me, in my opinion. Just has some really great instrumentation to it. And then that lyric, that one lyric, you know, wouldn't you believe it's just my luck? Like, it's such a sarcastic, like, line, because, you know, basically, you know, what it's trying to say is, wouldn't you believe it's just my luck that I would end up being here as a janitor at the same high school? Wouldn't you believe it's just my luck? It's definitely a very sarcastic line, and, you know, Kurt was known for his very sarcastic lines with songs and stuff, and this was definitely one of them, and I just love School a lot. And mention that School really wasn't a track that I really, even though I've listened to this many times, School, whenever I listened to it the first couple of times, I didn't really quite enjoy it. I just didn't care for it. But then it started growing on me more and more. I started appreciating the track more and loving it more. So yeah, School is definitely a fantastic song. It really is. So yeah. Next up is Love Buzz, track 5. Love Buzz is a cover song, actually. It's a cover song, and, you know, this is the only cover song to make it on a Nirvana album. And, because, you know, they've got cover songs on, like, their live studio, on their, like, live albums and the compilation albums, but this was the only cover song to make it onto a studio album. And it's quite a cover song. They do a really great job. I believe it's a Shocking Blue song. That's who the original band was that made this song. And honestly, not just saying this because they're my favorite band, but I also do think this is better than the original. I definitely love, you know, Chris's bass line is quite great. It definitely sticks out on this song. I forgot to mention it also sticks out on School once we get to the much quieter moment of that song. And, you know, Love Buzz is definitely I love his bass line to it. It's just a really solid cover song. It really is. I do really like that track a lot. It's definitely enjoyable in my opinion. So yeah, Love Buzz, good song. I do quite enjoy that song. It's a very good song in my opinion. Next up is Papercuts. Papercuts, it's the only song I don't care for on this album. Like, this is not a bad song by any means, but it's just, I don't know, I just don't really care for it all that much. The instrumentation is cool to it. Like, I really like the guitar work and the drumming to it. It's really good. It's just, the lyrics are alright. They're not that great, really. Kurt's vocals are honestly not that good on this song. I really don't like them. They're just not that good in my opinion. They really aren't. It's just kind of an okay song, really. It's definitely the one I don't go back to on this album, really. Not that much, really. It's definitely by far the least best song off of this album. It's not a bad song, it's just, nah. That's all really, I'm gonna be honest, that's really all I got for this song. So yeah, that's Papercuts. Next song, Negative Creep. Negative Creep was definitely one of those ones that caught my eye, like Floyd the Barber or About a Girl. This was another one that kind of caught my eye, really. Negative Creep is a very kind of fast-paced kind of tone of a song, really. And, you know, if you follow me on my main channel, FilmFan0599, you know this is actually my intro song for my videos, and it's quite the song. Like, just that guitar riff, like, just that guitar riff alone is fantastic. Like, it's so great. And, you know, whenever he would go, you know, this is getting to be crumb, and like he would just, you know, go that, like, it works perfectly for this song. And it's just such a fast-paced song, and whenever, you know, Kurt would start, like, getting much more louder and louder as the song went on, was kind of great too. And he also screams a lot on the song, as he does on this album a lot as well. And yeah, of course, you got that famous line, you know, I'm a negative creep, I'm a negative creep, I'm a negative creep, and I'm stoned, or, you know, daddy's little girl and a girl no more. It's just so great. It's such a fantastic, you know, it's grunge at its finest, this song. It really is. And it's definitely one of my favorites off of this album, and one of my favorites from Nirvana, just in general. It's quite a great song, if you ask me. Definitely love this song a lot. Next up, Scoff. Scoff is a song that doesn't really get that much attention, honestly. I really do feel like this should get way more attention. I really love Scoff a lot. It's quite a great song, like, you know, especially like his drum, like Chad Chang's drumming, where you hear the bum, 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 like, just that intro to it is really great. And what this song is basically about, it's about, you know, a father's lack of love for his son, and you can really tell that, you know, this was kind of based on another situation that Kurt was in, because, you know, his father left him when he was very young, because, you know, his parents got divorced and stuff. So definitely this is another song that is really based on a personal experience in his life. It really is a really, really great song, especially when he was saying, you know, give me back my alcohol a lot during the song. It really is fantastic. I love his vocal work on this song. It's really great. So yeah, Scruff is a very underrated song, I feel like. It's a song that kind of gets very overlooked off of Bleach, and it's quite great. I really love it a lot. So yeah, that's Scruff. Now next up is Swamp Meat. Swamp Meat is kind of another one that's kind of really, a lot of songs, honestly, on this album kind of get overlooked. It's like the later half that kind of gets overlooked a lot. And Swamp Meat is just another solid track, honestly. It really is. Like, I love the guitar work in the beginning with the doom 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 doom. Like, the guitar work is very, very great in this song. Definitely one of the, you know, the best, in my opinion. I really, really love the guitar work in this song. And, you know, like, I really love the lyric, of course, of, you know, keeps the cigarettes close to his heart. And, like, whenever they would sing that part, you know, you would hear the guitar and the drums kind of, like, kick in a little bit more. Like, you know, you hear, like, doom, 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 doom. Like, it just kicks in a little bit more on that part of the song. Like, whenever they would sing, like, you know, keep the bareness close to your heart or something like that. And just kind of would raise a little bit more the instrumentation, and I kind of like that a lot. So yeah, Swamp Meat is definitely another solid track that I do quite enjoy. So yeah. Next up is Mr. Mustache. Mr. Mustache is quite an interesting track, actually, because this is based on a comic strip that Kurt made as a teenager, which was about kind of stereotypical rednecks that lived around his, you know, lived around his area, you know, in Washington. And definitely another track that I quite like. I love the intro to this song. Like you hear Chad's like drumming. It's very quiet at first. You hear it's kind of, and then it just builds up and builds up and builds up, and then like it explodes into just grunge fineness. Like it really does. And yeah, I quite like Mr. Mustache a lot. It's definitely, I wouldn't say it's a song that I come back to all the time off of this record, but it's definitely a song that I do listen to here and there. I do quite enjoy Mr. Mustache. It's definitely a good song. Shifting. Shifting is very different. Like About a Girl, it's very, very different from the rest of this record, because it's a much more slower paced song. Like, it's very, very slow. It's a very much more slower paced song. And it actually worked, although, you know, my only little issue is that it could drag on a little bit. It is the longest song off of this album, like 5 minutes. So it can drag a little bit, this song, but, you know, it was still really good. I really liked the kind of slower tone that they went with the song. It kind of had a much more, I don't want to say like mystical vibe to it, but it just had much more of a, not really calm, I can't really think of the word I'm looking for, but it just is really, really different from the rest of the record, because it's much more slower and much more, you know, not as fast-paced and as, you know, going as the rest of the album. Very much more of a slow-paced track. Now, next up, Big Cheese. Definitely another song that kind of really gets overlooked off of this record. Even though this was released as a single, it definitely is a underrated single, in my opinion. Big Cheese is really good. I really think it's a really great track, honestly. Like, of course, that opening line, you know, big cheese, make me just... And then when Kurt would scream throughout the song, it's just really great. I really love Big Cheese. It's a really, really fantastic song, in my opinion. I really do quite enjoy the song a lot. You know, it talks about, like, kind of the big boss guy in the, you know, in the office and whatever. And it's really great. So, yeah, Big Cheese definitely is another solid track. Now, the last track off of this record that really ends this album is Downer. Downer is a very, very, very fast-paced song, kind of like Negative Creep, but this one just stands out one minute. Like, this one literally is 1 minute, this song, and it's just kind of just, you know, let's just go, 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 go. Like, the bass line by Chris on this song is quite great, and it's really, really fast-paced, especially the drumming. Just, this song is a very, very fast-paced track. That's really the best way I can describe it. Kind of Kurt talks about how the way America is working nowadays, at the times, of course, and that's what he really talks about in this song, and he really sings really, really, really fast at this song. You know, and I really love the pre-chorus to it, and the actual chorus to this song. It's really great. I really love that a lot. It's just a very great track that ends the album perfectly. It really is a great closing track. So yeah, I really love Downer a lot. It's definitely a very great closing track to this album. So yeah. So overall, Bleach, I do think is quite a great album. I do enjoy it a lot. It definitely was an album that definitely grew on me more and more over time, and I appreciated more. And it's definitely a fantastic album, in my opinion. So it's time for my official rating on Bleach, and my official rating on Bleach is a 4.5 out of 5. The only reason I can't really get it to a 5 out of 5 is because really my only issue with the album is that kind of the songs like kind of repeat themselves a little bit too much, like at points. Even though I still love a lot of those songs, I will admit they do kind of repeat themselves a little bit. So yeah, that's really my only issue with the album. Besides that, everything else is great about this album. I absolutely love the instrumentation to it, the production, just the lyrics to it. It's just really great. It's kind of an album that kind of gets overlooked sometimes, I feel like, and it's really fantastic. So yeah, Nirvana's Bleach, what a great album. Definitely deserves a 4.5 out of 5. So if you've listened to Nirvana's Bleach, what did you think of it? Leave in the comment section below. And I'm FilmFan0599, and we will see you all later. Peace.